And welcome back, everybody, to the Sports Analyst podcast. Jessa, how we doing this fine Tuesday? It is the last day of the first half of 2026.
I'm doing the math in my head. Yeah, that's right. It's Tuesday. It was a good Tuesday, but yesterday, are we gonna start by talking about the Monday that we had? Holy
Oh,
crap.
yeah. That was probably the best sports day that I can ever remember. All the games were so good. Japan, Brazil, Japan going up, and then Brazil making the comeback with the 90+2 equalizer, and then we had the two upsets that went into penalties. It was just pure adrenaline. I can't remember not smiling while watching. I was just absolutely riveted to the television the entire time. It was absolutely exceptional. Vamos, Paraguay. Good job taking down the schlant. And yeah. And then Morocco, Netherlands. Good thing. I'm glad Morocco won. Speaking of games, the blood in that game
Yeah.
was a lot of blood. Viewer discretion advised. I don't know. I thought it was absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything different, but to be completely honest with you, when everybody's soccer fans have been talking about how much they love soccer, I expected it to be like that, you know? Because that I could get behind, you know?
Yes.
And honestly, when the stakes are high, the intensity goes up. It reminds me a little bit, this is a bad comparison, but NBA playoffs versus regular season. I felt like the first couple games I watched felt more like regular season, and I know it's not the same. I know that if I were to go back and rewatch them, that I'd probably appreciate them more now. But holy crap! You can ask Jen. I was standing up in the living room when the ball would get into the box. So we're slowly but surely assimilating to this. It's super fun, and I thank all of you soccer fans for making it fun too. It's fun to hear who you're rooting for and why, and to hear secondhand some of that emotional investment is fun. So yeah, crazy games yesterday. Not as crazy today, but we'll see. We got one more tonight, Mexico and Ecuador.
Yeah.
So by the time people are listening to this, it's hopefully it was a good game.
Yeah, Norway Ivory Coast was fun, but France kind of just absolutely schmangled Sweden, which in its own right was fun to watch. I think that's something that I've taken away too, is that soccer blowouts are almost they're not more fun to watch than close games, but in football, a blowout is just completely uninteresting. In basketball, a blowout is completely uninteresting. But when France was clicking and just going at Sweden, I didn't care what the scoreline was. The outcome was already decided, but it was just fun to watch these guys at the peak of their powers. Mbappe just making guys look silly. Olise juking out two guys in one step. And the announcer literally was they're going to have to buy a ticket to get back into the game because they got juked out so hard. Even the blowouts have been fun and exciting to watch just from a skill standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Okay, that's awesome. Well, that's the one type of football. Are we moving on to the other brand of football or football that we should talk about?
Football, American football. Um, yeah, we definitely should. We got to do some landscaping, okay? Because Jess, I don't know about you, but I kind of check out after the college football season. I go into basketball mode until March Madness is over, and then I've been in World Cup mode for the past month and a half, 2 months. Um, I completely forgot about all of the changes that happened last summer, I guess, is when it was all taking place. We got two new teams. We got a bunch of new conferences. What do you say we clear some stuff up for folks?
Yeah, as I'm looking at these lists, I'm the same way. I'm like, whoa, I forgot that all this was happening. So let's start with it. Where do you want to start?
I think let's start with the two new teams. We got Sacramento State coming in from the state of Sacramento. As we know, Sacramento is a state. Um, I got a couple of fun facts about these teams. If you'd like to hear them.
Yeah, please,
Sacramento
always.
State, they are the Hornets. Okay, and so kind of a weird, not very football-y mascot, but the Hornets. Um, They have a stadium capacity of 21,195, so you could comfortably fit three of their stadiums inside Lavelle Edwards. They do have recent wins over FBS teams like Oregon State, Colorado, and Colorado State, which, given that geography, they will be joining the Pac 12, right? Wrong. They will be joining the MAC. I have no idea why. Makes no sense at all. And then last fun fact, Cam Scattaboo, famed, infamous, whatever you want to call him, CTE running back of the nation, Cam Scattaboo, and also one of the greatest directors of our time, Ryan Coogler, both once attended Sacramento State. So there are your fun facts about them.
I forgot about Scat. That's where he was before he went to Arizona State. One more fun
Yeah.
fact. Because I remember Sacramento State has been in the headlines a lot. Not a lot, but I see their names. Guess who their basketball general manager is?
Ooh, I literally, you could give me 100 guesses and I wouldn't get it.
Well, I don't know about that. It's Shaq. Shaq is their general manager
What?
basketball. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not. That's another fun fact for you. Welcome to FBS, Sac State.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you.
Shack State, as we shall call them now.
There you go.
They're Shack State.
That'll stay.
Another state school. This one is actually coming from a real state called North Dakota, which brings into question the whole, what does it mean to be a state thing, because it's just a bunch of cattle and bison. But they'll be joining, obviously, the MAC, right, because of geography. Wrong. They'll be joining the Mountain West because of all the mountains in the West. That is North Dakota. It's super flat. The mountains that you think of are actually in South Dakota. So there's literally nothing that means they should be the Mountain West, but they are going there. Here's a couple of fun facts for you. They have only ever had 3 losing seasons in the history of the football program. They have a 90% win rate since 2011, which includes a 5-0 record versus FBS opponents, or a 5-game winning streak against FBS opponents, a 22-game playoff win streak, and 10 national championships. And this is all just in the past 14 years since 2011. So these guys they're pretty good. I think they're a little more ready than Sacramento State is. No shade to Shack State, but I think North Dakota State coming in to play with the big boys in the Mountain West, they might just be running that thing from now on.
Holy cow. Okay, the last 5 FBS victories for North Dakota State. I was starting at the farthest away. Minnesota in 2011, Colorado State 2012, Kansas State in 13, Iowa State in 14, and then Iowa in 2016. And Iowa was ranked number 13th in the country at the time. So, welcome to the FBS Bison. They are the Bison, right?
Yes, they are indeed the Bison. And then just a fun fact in general about these two new teams. The NCAA just took away the 2-year transition rule. So now these teams, Sacramento State and North Dakota State, don't have to wait 2 years before competing in the postseason. So remember when JMU won the Sun Belt and then they weren't allowed to do anything with it? That is no longer. These teams can come in and win whatever they want, go to any bowl game. They could even go to the college football playoff this year.
Good. Okay, good. I don't know why that was even a rule in the first place. I'm going to be honest. We don't need to get into that now. But I'm glad it's not anymore.
Yes. Awesome. We do have some new conference shakeups as well. So you heard us mention the Pac-12. The Pac-12 used to be just Washington and Oregon State. Washington State and Oregon State, to clarify.
Crazy.
The Pac-12 of 2 is now the Pac-12 of 8.
Yeah.
For now, 8.5 if you count Gonzaga's basketball team. So think of it as all of the Mountain West state schools, almost all of them, and then Texas State. So you have Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno Staple, Oregon State, founding member of the Pac-12, San Diego State, Texas State, Utah State, and Washington State, another founding member of the prestigious Pac-12 conference. That is your Pac-12. What do we think, Jess? Is
I
this a good
think
conference?
I think this might be the most fun conference in college football this year. I'm going to be honest. So yeah. So Fregno Staple, not a typo. That is hereby what
No.
they are known as. Great.
Ever since Derek Carr and his makeup ad little face, I called him Fregno Staple. It's just a bit that I have.
Okay, great. Okay, gossip. That one will stick too. Yeah, I'm excited for the Pac-12.
This is going to be a great, great conference. Pac 12 After Dark, hashtag back. We are
True.
Johann Sebastian back
Yep.
with Pac 12 After Dark. New Mountain West. So poor little San Jose State is the only state school that got left behind. Everybody else from the Mountain West is still there. So your classics in the Mountain West, like Nevada and Hawaii, right? And also Wyoming, UNLV, Air Force, New Mexico. They also get UTEP joining, which UTEP like was an old WAC school, so kind of makes sense there. Northern Illinois, because why not? I guess. And then North Dakota State, also because NIU needs a traveling partner. I guess I don't really know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know what to make of this. I think it's also going to be fun. I think they probably separated based on my lizard brain's perceived like football skill. There's Mountain West A, which is the Pac-12, and then there's Mountain West B, which is like the B teams.
Yeah, what are even going to be the best teams in this conference? I'm looking at it. I'm like, is North Dakota State going to be the best? Are they going to be in championship contention right away? I mean, the door is open, honestly. I mean, actually, as I say that, I'm high on UNLV this year, so maybe UNLV. But yeah, lots of open questions on that conference. That'll be fun to watch too. So thumbs up to both of those changes. We can't always say that, but I feel good about all those movements. Great.
Yeah, I think this is going to lead to very fun football. And not having like a true rooting interest in any of these like rivalries and stuff, like I'm okay with this. Utah State and Boise State saved the same conference. I love that, like
Yep.
fight and battle. That's kind of my proxy BYU Boise State like hatred coming out in that aspect. So yeah, I'm down for this. I'm really down. We have some other moves. We have La Tech moving from the Sun Belt to Conference USA, which actually makes sense because like La Tech will now join ULL and ULM as like the UL whatever schools. They're all
Yeah.
going to be in the Sun Belt now, which makes a lot of sense, just in my mind. And fun fact, they'll all be in the West Division because the Sun Belt is the only conference still doing divisions.
Interesting. All right, hold on to that.
Yeah,
I think it makes, I don't know. I don't have any really opinion about divisions. Probably you do from being in the Big Ten for so long with divisions. There are pros and cons to it. But that makes sense too. Like those are all Louisiana schools, right?
right?
So, all
Yep.
right, wow. Is the Sun Belt the most logical conference? I
There
mean,
is
geographically, they've got divisions. That's like classic, sports competition structure. So, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think Sun Belt is a very, very good conference, very fun to watch. They lean into geographical rivalries as well, which I very much care about. The last like little thing is that Sacramento State, like we mentioned, will be joining the MAC because, of course, literally no reason except for that it makes no sense. But they will join UMass as MAC teams that are hashtag not my MAC teams. So
Hmm.
just reminder, UMass went 0-12 last year because they are cursed for muddying and degrading the pure project, the pure ore. They are the impurity in the ore of the MAC. The MAC
Okay.
is sacred, and NIU has been cursed forever, and UMass and now Sac State have both been cursed forever for muddying up this pure ore from the salt of the earth.
Okay. Do you care to elaborate?
No, I really like the Mac, and I don't like that these Mac schools are not Mac schools.
Yeah, true. All
That's
right,
it.
no elaboration needed. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This sets the stage, and that, along with the coaching carousel deal that we're dealing with, and the transfer portal, there's gonna be a lot of new this college football. So Yeah, hold on to your butts. It's going to be a good
Oh,
time.
yeah. And we'll get into all the transfer portal and coaching changes later. We just wanted to set the stage with a couple of like team and logo moves that you're going to have to get familiar with. Seeing a Pac-12 patch on a Utah State jersey, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to blink twice because I'm gonna see Mountain West. That's wild. Wild, wild. Man, are we ready to
Yep.
move on?
Let's do it, Jessa. Jessa, I'm so excited for this. We got squad or fraud. It's back. Break it down for us, Jess. What are we in for?
Okay, so I mean, it's off season. So you and we're not huge fans of predicting, right, outcomes. I think we've established that. But there is off-season times where you kind of look at like what do we know about these programs, and you do kind of predict like as of today, based on what we know. We talked about this last time. Based on what we know, what can we expect from these teams maybe going in? And it'll change week by week, but we're going to take a look at two teams at the top of the Big Ten today. Asking right now, squad or fraud? Squad meaning they will exceed expectations. If they're a squad, if they're predicted to be a really good team, they will be a really good team. Or fraud meaning they're predicted to be a really good team and they're not going to be a good team. I think we were one of two last year because I said that Penn State was a fraud last year, but we said that Clemson was a squad because of their weak schedule, and they still somehow ended up crapping the bed. So,
Which I was happy
um,
about.
yeah. Oh, me too. No complaints. I'll be wrong about that, and I'll be wrong on one of these this year happily. But I was thinking about like what teams are predicted to be really good. You always have an SEC team like Oklahoma in there. I thought, oh, they could be a fraud. Texas Tech, I think they have fraud potential.
For sure.
But I don't want to talk about either of those teams. So we're going to talk about Oregon and Ohio State.
Let's
Are they
go.
squads or are they frauds? And there are a handful of questions. This is the story of like how we pull out who is a squad and who is a fraud,
Okay.
and in
Okay.
analyzing this. And here's what we're looking at. Why did they win games last year? So like, what were the strengths? How did they perform, and
Mm,
why did they win so many games? Like, what was their
great
advantage?
question.
And then we ask, will those strengths continue? Like, did they make any moves in the offseason to maintain those strengths? Did they not make moves? Like, will that be a strength again? Then on the other side of the coin, you look at why did they lose games? Because neither of these teams went undefeated, right? Why did they lose games or underperform? And then did they make any steps in the offseason to correct those at this point? That we can see, right? And then you look at their schedule and how they performed against their schedule. So that's what we're going to go through rapidly at this first
Okay.
this and we're going to start with Oregon and then we'll end with Ohio
Let's.
State.
Yep. Let's get into it. I'm very excited. This is a great way to break it down. Jessa, I'm so excited. Oregon, I mean, just to set the stage, Oregon, I think, underperformed last year. I
Which is
think we all
weird.
expected. Yeah, yeah, we did not see that coming. I think both of us would have said they were a squad preseason last year. I think this is going to be a prove it year for Oregon. Like this is kind of Phil Knight's trying to win a natty before he kicks the bucket. This is one of his best chances, and we got to see if it's going to work. So yeah, let's dive into Oregon.
Cool. And we'll get to their schedule too. I think the last year was the year. Based on the schedule they had. It's kind of sucks. We'll get to that. But how did they win games last year? In 13 out of 14 games, they overperformed running the ball, meaning that an opponent allowed, let's say, 100 yards on average through the season, and Oregon ran for 110. So they
Gotcha.
bumped up, they made the defensive average worse, essentially, for the team that they played. 13 of 14 games. Do you want to guess? Don't look at everybody, you can see the notes, Jared. Everybody guess which game, think about their schedule, which game they didn't overperform running. And it was Texas Tech. But they still
Oh,
ended
that
up
makes
winning the
sense.
game,
And they
right?
murdered him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they killed them. But that just goes to show how good Texas Tech's defense was.
yeah,
Because Oregon was
that's
one of the
true.
best rushing teams in the country. So their their strength was their rush game. So we look at will those strengths be strengths again? They lost their running back one, who got the most carries and the most yards, but their starting running back, Jordan Davison, had 15 touchdowns last year, which is insane.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, so they return him, and then most of their O line are returning seniors.
Ooh, that's
So
scary.
I would say that they would probably be good at running the ball again this year. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah, what were your thoughts while watching Oregon last year? Do you have anything to add to that?
They were boring as frick.
Thank
I
you.
did not expect them to be boring, but yeah, like any of their games, they just weren't like that interesting. They weren't exciting to watch. Like they had the game versus Penn State, just completely like did nothing. They really shouldn't have won that game. Like remember there was that really weird fumble call that just like everyone just kind of forgot about, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was wrong," but like we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. They did not impress me in any way, and I mean that kind of goes to show like they ran the ball a lot, and running the ball isn't sexy, so like it didn't catch my eye as much. But yeah, it didn't lead to any performances that were really eye catching. That's what I remember.
I agree as well. I remember getting to the playoff and then being like, Oregon could win it all. And I'm like, I haven't watched a single Oregon game or enjoyed watching a single Oregon game this year. What are we talking about? But no, they ran the ball well, and then their schedule wasn't anything like super difficult. They didn't play Ohio State or Michigan, but like that's not really an advantage last year, if you were to play them. But I will say before we move on to their weaknesses, they get a new offensive coordinator this year. And
Interesting.
the last, at least on record, the last record I have, he was a offensive coordinator at New Mexico in 2021, and his offense wasn't that good. So that might be something to look at. A new scheme potentially added to the room could, but I expect them to be able to run the ball this year.
Yeah, I'm looking
All
at
right.
their schedule last year. Sorry, just one last
No, you're
note. I
good.
was looking at their schedule. They really didn't score a ton of points outside of like Rutgers, Oregon State, like Minnesota, like a lot of like 20 points in like they had a lot of games where they were scoring like 20 points a game. So
Yeah.
like this isn't again just to back to our point like it was not very exciting. It wasn't the Oregon that we're used to. Um
Right.
and so
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see if this new guy coming in takes them the other way, like takes them back to that high flying, like Marcus Mariota, kind of like the chip, like what we think of as Oregon, or if it's going to stay with this kind of run heavy, we're going to win by a touchdown, and that's good enough for us.
Yeah. Right. So that actually goes in well to their weaknesses, which honestly, it's crazy because their weakness last year was Dante Moore throwing the ball away.
You
We
mean our
talk
cover athlete for college football 27?
I tell you what, like you look at the Oregon team is so good that Dante Moore, I mean, he did throw for like 3,500 and 27 touchdowns. So he was good, but in big games, you talk about like the weakness of this Oregon squad and how good they were. Like Dante Moore throwing 5 interceptions in the college football playoff was the issue. He threw five in the
First play
college
pick
football playoff.
six.
Yes, and then he also threw I mean 7 if you look at their 2 losses to Indiana and then their playoff game against JMU. He threw 7 or he sorry, he didn't throw the ball away, but he lost the ball 7 times. 2 fumbles, 5 picks in those 3 games alone. So,
So
we've
not
got to
clutch.
see, yeah, not clutch. So that leans a little bit more to like, okay, I can't predict and I can't say that Oregon's going to go undefeated this year because they've got the same dude and that's what he's done, you know? So, yeah, lights too bright? Question mark? I don't know. But you talked about their schedule too, and looking at their schedule this upcoming year, they've got they play Ohio State and Michigan back to back. Again, not worried about
Oof.
Michigan. I'm not. And also they get Michigan at home. So that
Yeah,
might be an
that's not.
emotional response, but I'm not. They go to USC. They go to Illinois, which who we might need to do a breakdown on. That one's looking interesting. They get Boise State at home. They go to Oklahoma State. So it's an interesting schedule, but I don't think it's more challenging. So the question is, their Vegas over under win total is 10.5.
Oh,
And I would say that they need to win 2 playoff games to exceed expectations. And if they do that, then they're a squad. So are
okay.
you taking squad or fraud?
I'm leaning fraud.
Oh, I
Okay,
like
let's look
this.
at this. Let's look at this. Okay, let's just use your breakdown. Right? What did they do well last year? Take the ball out of Dante Moore's hands and put it in the running back's hands. Right? That's essentially what we said. Like the
Yes.
bad was Dante Moore, the good was the running game. What have they done to change that? Got a new guy. We have no. I don't really know much about this new guy, so I can't really talk to what it's going to look like. I think this is going to be the most boring 10-2 team that you'll ever know. Like they're going to win a lot of games. They're probably going to lose. I could see Washington and Ohio State loss. I could see them dropping one to USC. I'm thinking this is a fraud. And even if they win 11 games and go over that, I just there's a lot of unknowns this college football season, like we've been saying over and over again. I see this team not. This is not a top tier team based on what we know right now. This is a solid 9-3, 10 like I'm going to say 10-2. I'm pretty confident this is a 10-2 team.
Yeah.
I don't see anything like squatty about this team.
Right. And I mean, they're a squad because they're Oregon, right? And they're predicted to be incredible. Like, that's why they would be fraudulent in this case. With a 10-2 season. Other schools you can't say the same, but there's so much hype around this. They're essentially
Yeah.
running the same offense back. They got a transfer from UAB. His name's Iverson Hooks, and he's a 4-star, but he's
Okay.
5'10", 175, and he plays in the slot. So they're essentially running back the same offense. I am with you just because I can see them losing a game early and then a game late because of Dante Moore. I'm betting right now on Dante Moore making some mistakes. If not, I'm not necessarily going to be surprised if they're 11-1 and in the Big Ten championship. I'm not going to be surprised. But again, based on what we know right now, right?
Yep. Yep. And yeah, I don't believe that this is a very good team. Like I hate like when we like use last year as like a proving or like we use last year as a justification for why a team should be ranked. I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
completely wrong because if you're doing rankings, like it should be based on what they've done this year, right? You can't be
Yep.
like, well, Georgia's won 2 national championships. They deserve to be number one in week 10. Like, no, that's wrong. But I think at this point, when we're looking into the season, I feel good about saying their biggest win was over a Penn State team that fired their coach 2 weeks later, and they lost every other game, and they only beat Iowa by 2, and they only beat Wisconsin by 14, and they only beat Washington by 12. I am not impressed and have no reason to think that they will be better next year.
Yep. I'm with you. Okay, let's move on to, I think, the more entertaining of the two. For sure, the more entertaining of the two. Let's talk about Ohio State, starting with the first question. And I have some questions I'm going to throw at you, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Because there's some Ohio State Atlanta Falcons, like, there.
There's a crossover that we'll get to.
Yeah, we will get to that. Okay, first thing, why did they win games last year? Oh, I didn't realize this. I mean, I did, but I forgot. Like, their defense was stellar last year.
Yeah.
Lost a bunch to the draft, right? Um,
Yep.
is that accurate? That they did
Oh
lose
yeah.
some key players to the draft on the defense?
Oh yeah, like from their national title defense from 2 years ago, they've now lost every single player that played a snap in that game. So like
Oh
there's
my goodness.
yeah, every single player on that defense got drafted in either that draft or the next draft. So the cupboard is not bare, but it's full of brand new teacups that we have no idea of how good they are.
Okay, that's interesting because last year's defense, looking at again past performance, they overperformed in 12 out of 13 games, meaning that they allowed less points, yards. They were almost perfect last year. The only
Hmm.
team that they allowed to score more than 16 points against them was Miami, and they lost the game. So this sounds like a Jay Hill BYU, like whoa, interesting. Defense won games for him, but they were dang good. Okay, to your point, returning defensive production is 45%, which is not
That's not where you
great.
want it to be.
No, that's not great. But they have the same staff, and on paper they got better, like talent wise, in the transfer
Okay.
portal. But production wise, they like as far as snaps played, they got worse to your point. But the
Yeah.
talent is still very high. So that's where it can be kind of a wild card. That's why they won games, and I think it wouldn't be crazy to say that their defense is going to take a step down this next year because how can you
Yeah.
get any better than the last 2 years?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
No,
Um,
I'm totally with you. I as an Ohio State fan, I'm less confident in the defense this year than I have been in the last couple of years because the national championship defense was out of this world. And last year was like you were still riding that high, both from a fan perspective and from the players. Like they were still performing at that level, but it's all gone now. There's no Caleb Downs. There's no edge rushers. JTT. There's nothing. So it'll be interesting to see how the new guys. They're supposed to fill it in. As a BYU fan, I'm just eternally cynical, I guess. So not exceptionally hopeful, but it's a good thing we got a bunch of pansies to warm up to,
true.
with Ball State, Kent State, and Texas. So we'll have a good on ramp into conference play.
For sure, for sure. Those quarterbacks, they're yeah. Won't need to play much defense. Man, we are saying a lot of things. Good thing that we're not going to get clipped. So what you're saying is they need some help from the offense to be good this year? Here's the deal. Julian saying, I talked to Jacob about this today. One of the highest, if not the highest completion percentage in college football history. Is that right?
Yes, he broke Bo Nix's, check down city Bo Nix's record for completion percentage in a single season.
Okay, see, that's solid. The weakness, that's not their weakness, okay? Ohio State's weakness, I was so surprised. Running the ball. In their 2 losses against Indiana and Miami, they ran for 58 and 45 total yards in separate games. I'm sure you didn't forget about that, but I completely forgot about that. So my question to you is, do you think it was a play calling problem, a running back problem, an O-line problem? Like, what do you attribute that to?
I think the number one issue, O-line.
Okay.
Far and away, the number one issue was the O-line. Our O-line was terrible last year. We knew it coming into the year that it was going to be a problem, and it was. We just beat up on all the smaller people, but as soon as there were people our size, we tucked our tails and ran into the backfield. We were hiding behind Julian Sayin against Miami. And Julian Sayin's head was a blender against Indiana. We could see it in real time. It's like a cartoon when the eyes are spinning in circles and they roll behind his head. The close-up shots of his replays were that. He was not seeing anything. He was crazy. So that is number one problem. Number two, our running backs are good, but they're not Zeke. Zeke made our O-line look incredible because he would break the first 2 tackles or make the first 2 guys miss and then bop it outside, right? Our guys are really good, but they're not going to be able to make 1 or 2 guys miss. They might push the pile forward for a yard or two, but they're not going to be breaking any explosives. They're not going to be getting first downs when they shouldn't. And then play calling, Brian Hartline was the OC. It was his first time as a true play caller OC, and they made a switch. So Ryan Day was helping him out halfway through the season, if I remember correctly. So I think you nailed all three on the head, but number one would be the offensive line.
Okay, yeah. Bo Jackson comes back. And I'm not sure who the backup is. It'd probably be the transfer Jacoby Jackson from Florida, and he didn't play a ton in 2025. And then the other one is Isaiah West, a sophomore, and he's 5'10", 210 pounds. I'm not used to seeing 3-stars. What in the world? Is that a 3-star on Ohio State? That's crazy. He got 51 carries last year. So that'll be interesting to see if they do any better. And I'm so sorry. I think you're running back the same offensive line as last year.
Yeah, that is returning production in this case. Bad. Horrible.
Bad.
That is the worst news that I could ever get in the entire world.
Oh,
Julian
boy.
Sayin might die on the field this year.
Oh, man. It'll be interesting to see who the wide receiver 2 is, who emerges.
Yeah.
You've got a freshman in Henry Jr. I'm seeing it. And then Innes?
Yeah, Chris Henry Jr., Brandon Innes.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, there's some names. Ohio State always has really, really good wide receiver recruits. But as we saw against Miami, it does not matter if you cannot run the football. Against Indiana and Miami, we couldn't run the football, and so the defense was just like, all right, we're gonna go man on man and like bump you off your route so you can't throw like 2 yard hitches or slants, and we're just gonna send 7 and 8 guys at you, and there's nothing you can do. And there was nothing we could do. Julian Sand, a true freshman, absolutely just completely cuckoo clocked. Just the entire time, he was a cartoon animal. It was, I cannot express how frustrating it was to watch. Just like this Bulbasaur out there trying to play quarterback against a Charizard fully evolved. It was horrible. Sorry, I'm getting so off on a tangent. This is not meant to be overly negative, but it kind of is now.
That's so great. I have a question for you. Arthur Smith comes in from the Falcons. Okay. Does he help the offense or not help the offense? What do we know about him? Oh, okay. Cool. All
That's
right.
all I'm going to say on that. I
Okay.
really wish that we had gotten a different offensive coordinator.
Okay. Cool. Cool, cool. Probably because he like owes you money or something, so you don't want to, that's probably why. It's something personal, like you made a little silly side bet. And that's probably, it probably has nothing to do with work performance, I would go out to say. Okay, cool. That kind of answers my question. The schedule last year, their strength of schedule was number 26. Their best wins were Texas, Washington, and Illinois. So, strength of
And let us
schedule
all
wasn't.
remember,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, those 3 games were ugly as frick.
Yeah, yeah. So this year, they go to Indiana, to USC. They play Oregon. They play Michigan every year. They go to Texas. Schedule gets exponentially more difficult. Their predicted 9.5 wins is the line, or over under. And then playoff expectations, I don't know what they are, but fraud or squad?
I'm going to break it out. I'm going to break out the F word again. This team is a fraud. Okay, they are going to be pushed to you by the national media as the Big Ten's like these guys are still the big boys. You got Indiana and the blah, 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 Indiana, blah, blah, blah. But Ohio State, they're going to be back. They're going to be in the semifinals. No, this team is not going to be good. I have no faith in our offense. Our defense might be good, but it's not going to be enough to beat the teams on our schedule. This is not going to be this is going to be like the Luke Fickell interim year that everyone remembered, the infamous like 7-win season. We're gonna cut out, but fraud.
Okay, I've got them at 9 wins as well.